Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hey guys, we're back. Welcome to episode 131 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Katie, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Grace and EJ.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
So today is the Lone Star winter premiere for the final 3 episodes of the show. So we thought we would talk about what we want to see happen in these final episodes, theories, and I know there's like some news things out there and stuff, so it'll be like one last hurrah. Which I hate saying because like
I know.
totally like I'm just like totally in denial stage for like the longest time.
I know. I
Like,
can't believe we're here.
I know.
Should not be. Should not be.
I know.
I don't think it's even gonna fully hit me until we're finally on the last episode. Like once we're done and dusted with that, I'm gonna be like, wait, what do you mean?
Right.
It's gone.
I know. I feel the same way.
Honestly, I don't think it'll like hit me until we're literally recording the like series finale, and I'll probably be like, "Oh crap, we're here!" Oh,
Even with all this notice, it's not gonna feel correct.
no, like literally, it's gonna be like, "What? What do you mean? There's no new episode?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll get to talking about all these things. I don't know. It's like we're in the weird moment where it feels like not that much time has passed, but also feels like so many months have passed. It's been
Oh
one
my
month.
Yeah.
So I know we like in the last episode we did see like the Judd stuff with like him drinking a lot to deal with like Grace being gone. And I would like to see like a TK Judd scene. I think that'd be really cool to see that. So
Right.
Absolutely.
that's something I would like to
I
see.
mean, like, I feel like it'd just be such wasted opportunity if they don't. Because
Right.
no one's, yes, we got reference to TK's addiction when Owen was talking to Judd about it, but like, bring like the actual conversation in, between the two of them. I desperately need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we're still waiting to see Buttercup. You didn't think we'd leave that out.
Definitely not.
I will literally take anything at this point. You could literally CGI Bruni's mountain dog, and I would take that.
Right. We might
At
have.
this point, anything, even just at this point, just say his name. Like he hasn't even been spoken about in an age.
I know. It'd just be like, this. Remember this episode or that episode of 911 where Eddie was calling Chris and Chris was like, Gavin wasn't even filming in that episode. Like literally just be like, Buttercup,
Right.
come here, boy, and it cuts out.
Something.
We'll take anything at this point. Yes, I
I
agree.
know.
The people have been asking, they must deliver.
I know. There's not like there's been talks of things that are gonna happen, but there's not like huge things I want. Like I want like the not necessarily the final scene, but like in the final episode, I want like a flash forward and to see where everyone ended up.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Like I know probably a lot of people, myself included, probably have, still hopes that one day we'll get a surprise renewal or something like that. But even at the cost of that, seen as likelihood we're not going to get it, I need it to feel like the end of a story. Even if they
Yeah.
leave some loose ends to pick up on a couple characters later on or whatever. No, I need that to feel finished because so many series end without being given notice that they're ending, like last minute cancellations, without getting another season. And I want this to not be one of those for sure.
Right.
And I have faith that they're going to give us a good ending, but I want it to feel pretty definite and like it's an actual ending, as painful as that is to say.
Yeah. Like I
Just
know
give us
some
anything.
things will be open just because they were leaving it open for like a possible spin-off.
Yeah.
And I know the actual spin-off they're doing, like things have been thrown out, like like they've said, oh, it's gonna be this, and then it was starting out, which I'm honestly glad because they're gonna do 9-1 Hawaii, and I'm just like, yeah, nobody wants that. Like,
Mm.
not even that nobody wants to watch that, but literally, the locals do not want you doing that.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
let's stop profiting off of our colonization of Hawaii, please. We're screwing that up really bad.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, and it's crazy, but we've actually, like, media wise, there's been quite a bit of major cities covered in different series.
Yeah, that's what makes it
Mhm.
hard too, because it's like you already have Chicago covered, Seattle, LA, obviously like
Honestly,
Austin.
I would give us the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Idaho, and
Literally.
just do that. Like that's
I have things to say about that, but
maybe
on
not
recording.
Idaho.
I live
Maybe not
about 5
Idaho.
minutes, live about 20 minutes from the Idaho border right now, so
Okay, okay, let's do the bumfuck nowhere in the middle of a like blue state, just so we can have our queer representation,
Yes.
please. Oh, we're leaving behind Texas. We don't want to go
Right.
somewhere worse.
Well, and even when you branch out too, when you think about, like, because there's been CSI shows in Vegas and New York and Miami, then you have NCIS was in New Orleans,
Mm.
and LA. Now they're international ones like Sydney and stuff, and Hawaii. I think we've had plenty of like Hawaii shows, and I don't even keep up on rescue surf or whatever, high
I
surf,
know.
and I didn't hear great ratings for it, so
Yeah, I'd be surprised
I
if it got
I
picked up.
never saw it.
I didn't
I'm
watch it. I was
I've
going
never seen
to,
anything,
then
but
I
I have seen trailers, and the trailers don't appeal to me. So
yeah.
yeah, I definitely want to see, like, I'm okay leaving like some things in question marks, just because this is hard because so many of my favorite shows have ended on cliffhangers or like not wrapping up everything because, like you said, they ended prematurely or weren't really notified that they were getting canceled until after they were finished filming.
I know a lot of people are still mad about Station 19, and I
Yeah,
think
I
that
was just about to bring
one of
that
those
up
cases.
because they found out that they were canceled while they were filming their 7th season. So they were already filming, but like they wrapped it up like pretty well where you weren't like, at least I feel personally I wasn't mad how they wrapped it up. I feel like they did a pretty good job. Obviously there were like things I wanted to see happen and like that kind of sucks, but like I feel like they did a pretty good job. So that's kind of what I'm going into for Lake Lone Star. I'm like, okay, well, they had similar thing happened to them, like where they knew going in this is like the last season they're gonna have. So at least they had some time to prep. Obviously, I wish they could have gotten like a few more episodes because like 12 does not seem enough,
Right.
especially since we spent like the first chunk of the episodes we got like with Gabriel's murder stuff and like other side things. I'm
Yeah.
really interested what they're gonna put in these last few episodes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think I know I think there's some, like, a meteor or comet is coming at them, so they're kind of giving you like end of days thoughts. They were able to write like a decent ending, and I'm okay with some things not being fully 100% like flushed out because that does leave open opportunities for them to do a spinoff or for another network or streaming service to pick it up and air it, and give it another season or do what they were talking about with like a Tarlo spinoff or something. And I want to just make sure that they're good. Like people are not necessarily like up in the air as to like who's living and dying. So I don't know. I guess I don't really have any like majorly specific ones except like that. Like I don't want to know and like leave it on the cliffhanger. It's like, did so and so, like, are they dying or not? Let's not have that.
Right. Yeah.
I want my experience in watching the next 3 episodes to go something like finish the last episode, go, damn, that was good. and then go, God damn, that was good, and cry because it's over. That is how I want
Yeah.
it to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. And like, just like I don't want it to be too wrapped up because there have been shows I watched where they did get like an unexpected cancel and they wrapped it up a little too much to the point that people wanted a spin-off or wanted another network to pick it up, but it's like, okay, that's not gonna happen if you wrap it up like really good.
Yeah, it's a
Because
good
it's like,
point.
what
Yeah.
are you even gonna do?
Like that's why I'm like cautious when I say that.
Yeah.
Because like, part of me wants to believe, someone will rescue it or Fox will get their heads out of their heads or, whatever. But also like, I don't know. I'm torn between the two, but I just want that feeling when it's finished. Like that satisfaction, at least knowing it was done right. And so far I have been getting that with this season. And I think that's why, like, I don't like I've been thinking, what do I want from this season? And honestly, not all that much other than that. Because they've just been doing so good. Like, obviously, I think I want more interactions between different characters, not just TK and Judd, but I'm always asking for more TK and Owen interactions. Like just because, it's almost like
Agreed.
they're father and son. They don't just need to interact when there's an emergency. But I don't know. I'm here for the ride.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But I don't know. Just so many different feelings about all this.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why it's so hard to like talk about it. It's like, where do I even start?
I guess we can go on to theories and maybe some stuff will come out of that.
There you go.
So there was like some form of video, and I know like I saw the screenshots before I saw the video. It was like Marjan basically in a wedding dress or something. So and I know her parents are gonna be in like the episodes airing, like episode 10. So that's interesting. So it's like her full on in a wedding dress, which isn't surprising just because I remember somebody saying that like somebody was gonna get married this season. So and like it was just like everyone was like, oh my god, it's probably Tommy. And then of course when that stuff came down, I was just like, oh, well obviously it's not that.
Right.
So it's just like, wait, was that just like a fluke? Because also somebody said that somebody was gonna die, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if they were just kidding or if they actually were being serious.
I mean, in my experience, everyone says everybody's gonna die at some point. Right? So, and in a lot of series, they might be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so far, other than our dearly departed Tim, we've been doing all right. So
I know, which I'm very happy with because like I hate shows that just like kill people off.
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy.
Agreed. I'm ready to clear my throat for that. Agreed.
I will flat out
Yeah.
say that. I don't mind, like I understand in like some type of shows it makes sense to do it every few seasons, but when it happens like so much, and even Station 19 they had a similar theme where it was just like if we can't use this character anymore, let's just kill him off, and I'm just like, why?
Have you ever heard of moving across the country? How about that as a like?
I know, right? Like,
I
yeah,
know.
they
I
can
don't know.
do that.
At some point it is just for shock value, and I am
Pretty much.
one
It
or
keeps you
two
watching.
shock value things I'll go for, but nah, when it's just that, it loses its emotion.
Yeah.
It loses, like,
I agree.
I don't even watch all that many shows where that happens, but like still I know I am happy to see shows like this gain off the hamster wheel of what emergency shows have been doing for so long, which is kill
Right.
everybody off.
Yeah. Like it's good that at least somebody died for the fact that like it doesn't make them like seem like they're invisible. Like I know that's sometimes what people say about 911 is like pretty much like nobody has died.
Yeah. But also we're way too attached to all the characters now.
I know if
Die.
they killed
Yeah.
somebody,
Like,
I would for sure be crying.
Right.
So yeah, there's that.
the way I would ride, I am already about one half a thread away from marching down Fox as it is, or not Fox, ABC as it is. I'll hit Fox on the way out too.
Might as well.
Just, while I'm there,
Why not?
I will march down there.
Right.
Yeah, no. All those sentiments aside,
Mm-hmm.
I would be shocked if we went out the season with a death, though. Like, I don't feel like that's where we're going.
See, part of me wants
And
to think that, but part of me is like, I don't know. I'm getting the vibes.
yeah, it would be a good shock ending. But the
Yeah.
only person I see them doing that to is Owen.
Yeah, honestly,
And I'm not
yeah.
And I don't think I would be quite as devastated about that as I would be about other characters, but it's still not something I want.
Right.
So,
Yeah, definitely. So there is that. And then we have this asteroid meteor, whatever it is,
of
that's
course.
coming.
Why not?
And so like one last big call, I guess, and it's like I know we just mentioned the death thing, but I'm like, could somebody die? I don't know. Okay, this would be very like weird because like Tim was hit with like oh whatever
Lava
a
bomb.
lava bomb. I couldn't think of the word.
That's
A lava
right.
bomb. So that'd be weird. So if somebody died from an asteroid, just
Oh, yeah.
imagine them meeting
Awkward.
up
I think
in
they just
heaven
need
and
to.
be like, "Hey, you're here. Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at that point it's just everyone needs to stay out of the way of all flying objects,
Yeah.
I know.
which might be solid advice regardless, but still. Uh,
Literally. And of course, we have like the Jonah storyline coming up. And I know I saw like an article like maybe a month ago or so that was like something about it won't be like easy. They're gonna have to jump through like lots of hurdles and that kind of stuff. And like the outcome is unexpected, which I'm just like, what does that mean?
what does that mean?
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm here for unexpected outcomes at the
I
moment.
know. I think we've been through enough
Right.
unexpected for literally a
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yeah. I think.
Actually, you know what? I do have a wish on something I want to see. Hang on, I thought about that. Can we please see TK and Carlos have like actual, like meaningful interactions during the last few
I
episodes?
know,
'Cause I am
seriously.
still not
Like it.
happy with how
Yeah.
they ended
There you
their
go.
conversations about Jonah.
I
Yeah.
know.
That
We're
was.
we've been through the dark ages this season. I want like a little bit more like happy times. Like
Right.
I understand that like it was going through to a better direction at the end of the last episode because Carlos was gonna tell TK that he was ready, but we didn't actually see that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping. I know we have I forget what episodes. I don't even know what episodes these things are gonna happen. I don't know if it's going to be this episode or if it's going to be like an 11. I don't know, but that's coming
Well,
at
and
least.
I remember seeing a photo of them, and I think it was towards the end of the season. And TK is wearing civilian clothes, and Carlos looks like he just got off duty as a ranger. And then everybody else is there wearing like uniform type clothes or outfits. And I was like, why is TK not wearing his uniform? And then I was like, well, then I guess it's somebody he know, like, their reason, like. But then I was like, well, maybe TK is gonna stop being a paramedic
Yeah,
to be a stay-at-home dad with Jonah.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
thinking about that.
yeah, that's been like a rumor for a while that like TK is gonna quit to stay home with Jonah and Carlos will be the one that work and stuff, which I know there's like it's very like people have certain opinions on it. Like some people are like, I really hate that storyline because like TK loves his job, TK loves being a paramedic and now this is gonna happen. I'm like, I don't know. I have my suspicions. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not feeling any sort of way on it. Like I really
Mhm.
it's fine, but I think it's going to be pretty difficult with them both having like pretty demanding jobs.
Yeah.
And dangerous
To
jobs
be
at
able
that.
to adopt
Right.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. And I hate to use a comparison I use a fair amount, so forgive me. But say we were talking about a similar storyline with Buck, I wouldn't want them to do that. With TK
Yeah.
though, I actually think he'd be okay with giving up his job. Because yes, he loves it, but I think he puts more of a value on family And I think he would want Jonah to have stability that he didn't feel he had as a kid. Because you never know when something's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he, like, having grown up intimately knowing that, he'd want to spare Jonah the fear that he had to go through when
Right.
knowing that his dad was up in the towers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely like a lot weighing on that. Yeah,
So
and
I wouldn't be mad at it, I don't think, as long as they handled it well.
yeah, and like a lot of parents, like usually if they like stay home with the kids, it's not like forever.
Right.
It's like maybe until Jonah goes to school, which he's like 4, so he's likely in preschool at least.
Yeah.
So it's like not forever, but I don't know. I think it's like it's a good thing. I also think this is like a behind the scenes thing that I thought was kind of interesting. Ronan had said this the other day that like the Jonas stuff is like interesting that this is coming up this season because obviously now he's a dad and nobody knew when they were filming about that.
Oh gosh. Wow. They kept that a
So
secret.
they kept it hush hush.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
Honestly,
apparently.
I respect it. I really do.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. It's just interesting how life works like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Probably was a relief to finally be able to tell them.
I know.
They're like, oh
And-
yeah, so this has unexpected impact and meaning for me.
Yeah.
Honestly. But yeah, now into some of the news things. Richard Speight Jr. from Supernatural will be guest starring in episode 10 as Reverend Phil, who leads a faith-based sobriety group that Judd has been going to for the past month along with Owen.
And when
that's
EJ and I
interesting.
saw that, we were like, hell yeah, because both of us have seen Supernatural.
Right.
Yep.
That's
Like I've never seen it, but I know like the connection of like Jim and him being
Yeah.
in Supernatural, so I know that and stuff, but yeah. And I
Hmm.
know like something that's like out there for this episode is how basically like Judd's been going for the past month, but Owen and the Reverend suspect Judd may be lying about his sobriety, and it may take an actual miracle to set him back onto his path. Because in this episode, there's like a call where he walks into basically the line of fire with an armory truck, and that bullets are flying everywhere and like that kind of stuff. So Owen's like suspecting that like he's drinking and stuff.
At the
So
very least, on a self-destructive path again.
yeah,
Right.
pretty much. And liked how in the article that this was set in that it was shared that episode 10, the mid-season premiere, has my favorite teaser of this series, which will speak to how receptive Judd is to getting the help he needs. We're going to see the power of addiction and the things that it can make good people do in episode 10. It's just the beginning. It's not. And then like basically and then also in this episode, like Marjan's parents are coming, which we haven't seen them since like the flashback in I think it was like 409. So that I'm really excited for that because honestly, I didn't really think about this until like a couple episodes ago, but I was like, oh, I really hope they come back because we only really got them in that flashback. So I was like, oh, I hope that happens. But apparently, like they have dinner with Marjan and her boyfriend Joe, and things don't go as smoothly as they hoped. Just Marjan hoped. So that'll be interesting to see
Mhm.
that. And I know
I'm
that
wondering if it's a connection to her getting engaged, possibly.
I know I'm wondering I'm wondering if it was just like meeting the boyfriend before that or like if it's I obviously like seeing things I'm like it's obviously leading towards that path, but
Yeah.
I don't know like if it's gonna like it could be like religion wise. I don't know. It could also be otherwise because sometimes your parents don't want you to like marry somebody that would be a separate religion than you are,
Mm-hmm.
especially in like certain cultures.
Well, I thought
For
he
sure.
was
I can't remember.
hurt.
I'll be honest, I am
too-
having very blank memories on all this.
So after she got hurt, she had to do some
Yes.
rehab, and her PT was Joe.
Oh,
she-
yeah, right.
And Joe somebody, whoever was there with her, and I think it was Paul, said something to her, and she was like apologized or something. He's like, that's okay. He's like, I'm Muslim too. And then she's like, oh, I didn't know that. And then the relationship kind of formed after that. So I was like,
Oh,
so
right.
then I could see kind of some of that possibly happening, is like maybe he's not Muslim enough, or he's not as practicing as she is, or her family was more traditional, or yeah, it could go many of different ways.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, I think there are also, and I will say right now, um, I'm not Muslim. I don't have like the deep, like the biggest knowledge of the religion. So anyone, if it's listening who is Muslim, please feel free to correct me. But I think there are also like, just like there are different sects in Christianity, and assume Judaism as well. There are also
Mhm.
different sects of Muslims, so maybe he's in a sect
Yeah.
they don't approve of. So
Right.
that might also be it.
Highly possible. Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 major sects, like you said, of Judaism, and I think there's, or just like where you grew up too in it.
Yeah.
Like, did you grow up in the States in it, or did you grow up, in the Middle East in it, or another country in it? Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I'm
definitely know in the
curious.
Middle East there are different.
Hmm.
Um, I am not sure how those translate over to the US
Yeah,
or any other country outside.
right.
So yeah, again, I am not very knowledgeable about that. So please, if anyone listening is, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, okay.
But that is that is probably my only theory to add to what we were already saying.
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. But I'm excited about that. And I don't know if it was this episode or another episode that it was said, like, oh, this will be like a really big episode for Marjan. So I'm really interested to see this for her. And then I know I just saw this a couple days ago, but in 411 we will meet Jax, played by Miles McKenna. His character will be connected to Paul, and Paul will be like a role model for him. And this is going to be very interesting because it goes back to the pilot where Owen is talking about like when Paul first interviewed her or whatever, and like Owen's like saying how like there's a kid out there who like needs him, or like that like kind of like
Oh yeah.
because he was like what like his younger self, and his character is a trans character
Mm.
too,
Oh hell yeah. I love seeing that.
Okay.
and stuff, um and he actually is trans in real life too. I want to put that out there if
Oh
nobody's
cool, just like Brian.
familiar. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think that's really cool.
Yeah, when you mentioned that, I didn't recognize the name, but
Yeah, I only
Cool.
know because
Yeah.
I looked him up earlier and I was like, wait a second. And yeah,
oh,
Yeah.
so that's
Oh,
pretty
I
cool
love
for
that.
Paul, with this storyline. I'm interested, like, how they come in contact. Like, does he come by the firehouse, or is it like
hmm,
I'm interested to see like where this goes for the final
right.
episodes. And I'm interested to see just what happens with everybody. Like, I know Tommy was just starting treatment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
after his
honestly,
surgery.
the last episode is such a blur for me. I'm gonna have to try to watch it before this next episode premieres.
Hmm.
Because like I remember things, but I'm also like, man, it is such a freaking blur.
I swear, like my encyclopedia knowledge of 911 is pretty intact. Things have just been going through the sieve as far as
Right.
Lone Star is concerned, and I hate that. Definitely don't want that, but that's just what's happening. So I will probably need to do some rewatch myself.
It's
Now, will
funny.
I? That's a whole other question. But
It's funny because like I will remember the randomest things from like seasons, say 1 and 2, because I watched those seasons like a lot.
Yeah.
Um and stuff. I
yeah,
haven't done like a full rewatch in a while. I think like after like the show's been done for a while, I will go back and rewatch every episode.
Yeah, that's what
Mm.
I'm feeling.
But I just like I remember the randomest things about those episodes, or like even season 4. I will remember like, oh, this happened in this episode, or I'll know exactly like if there's a major storyline for a character, I'll remember that. I'll remember what episode it was in.
Hmm.
It's just funny how your brain works sometimes. I do that with
Right.
911 too, where like I know what the episode title is for a certain episode, or I know what happened in a certain
Mm-hmm.
episode. But I like
Yeah.
literally just the simplest things I cannot connect.
That's so real.
Totally.
Yeah,
Have those days. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
it's also like partially because I watch like few, quite a few shows. So like it's like remembering what happened in one show, and honestly, some shows like they do such similar storylines, where I'm just like,
Oh my
wait,
gosh, they really
wait, did that happen? Wait, which show did this happen on? And I'm like, all of them, all
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah. I think that's happening with me more lately. My roommate and I have just been working on some craft projects. So I've
Yeah.
just been putting on mindless TV. And so we're watching Blue Bloods. I'm like, oh, that happened in this
Oh.
episode too? Or this series too?
I know there was something, I forget what show it was. It might honestly been that too, where I was like, wait a second, that happened? Or I don't even know. There was something where I was just like, oh, wow.
I was just saying that like sometimes you'll just watch something and you're watching something new and you'll be like, wait a damn second. They borrow from each other all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
That's it.
which I get. I mean, we talk about it a lot in like book editing and stuff, and like no idea is a new idea. Everybody's inspired from something.
Right.
So it's really hard to like pull the like, oh, your copyright infringement, because
Well, yeah. Well, they get the stories from like real life for the most part. Obviously,
mm-hmm,
like for TV, they exaggerate maybe a few things, or like they make it seem quicker than it actually was. But like they get
yeah,
for all like shows like this, they get all like the call ideas from like actual things that happen. Like they talk to like actual first responders, and then they use
mm,
those things. That's why they're so similar, because they happen like everywhere.
yeah,
But that
which yeah, and obviously, when we're recording this is just days after all the stuff with the fires in California, and I know that's infecting things, but just like hearing the stories that come out of it, I'm like, it's definitely too soon to like be talking about some of that stuff, like in a like a fictional sense. But I'm like, there's some stories I've heard that I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna end up being in a movie or a TV series sometime. Um,
definitely, yeah. Yeah, I know people are like I forget what, but people are like talking about, oh my god, they should do a 9-1 episode on this. I'm like, guys, that is way too friggin' soon.
like
Like
yeah,
those fires are still happening as far as I'm aware. Like,
yeah,
people
Yeah.
have lost their whole homes, people have lost their family, like
it's terrible. Yeah, my heart goes
that's
out to
sad.
him, for sure. I'm, definitely like hoping for the best. And I know like some 911 cast members and crew have lost their homes.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. And it's
A
like,
lot of people have been affected.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
it's
Yeah,
all
like
across the board. Several actors that I'm a huge fan of. Like seems like every day I go on social media, there's another person I'm finding out lost their home, and I'm like, oh my god, because I feel so bad. Like, and it's such a helpless thing. Like, what do you do?
I know. And people are
Yeah.
so cold about it because they're like, oh, they're celebrities. They'll just rebuild. And it's like, I don't care if you have like a ton of money. It's you're still human. You still lost your home. It is
Yep.
still hard. Like, just think about all like the like family like heirlooms, like pictures of their kids or whatever it might be, things that have been their families for generations that they probably lost.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Like, listen, I know we're in a like, eat the rich time period, and that is fully valid. Like, listen, if something happened to say Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos' homes, I would not give a shit. Not really. I gotta say that. But these are people too. Like, and a lot of them are not the target of what that whole argument's about anyway. So, like, people just need to remember the humanity sometimes of all these people. A lot of people are scared and confused, and they've lost their family. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's no matter who you are, it's stuff's going on. And I think a lot of people also forget that some of these people are people that would step up in a heartbeat to help people in need.
A lot of people have been. Like, a lot of celebrities have been out there. Like, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have been out there. And people have been giving her shit on it, and I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't
they're
want
doing
to hear
something.
it. Also, like, curb the racism, everybody, all right? We all know why you have problems with Meghan Markle. Just saying.
Yeah, I bring that up because I'm like, that's stuff going on right now. That's current events. And I know they've been talking a lot about like how the, air, the pilots and just how much of a like seasoned pilot you have to be to like land at like 60 miles an hour on the water and keep the plane level to suck up the water that you need to that, and I'm like, so all I'm doing is thinking about Tommy and what he can do as a pilot.
Oh my god.
And I was like, but again, I feel like it's way too soon to be talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I would have been all for us bringing in a wildfire for 911 at the very least.
Yeah.
Because it's California. Like, they have freaking wildfire. But like, now that we have dealt with like such a catastrophe so soon after everything, I'm like, actually, it's okay if you put that off for a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I know.
maybe wait a few seasons. Yeah. On that note, like, if anyone has the opportunity or the resources to spare, please look for places to donate to help the people that have lost everything in these fires.
Yeah.
And please remember, this is not just celebrities. A lot of just regular people living in LA trying to get by have lost everything. So please, there are some very good resources out there. Anything helps.
Yep.
Just want to throw that out there since we were talking about it.
Yep. Yeah. And and some have been a little more like, so I was thinking back to some of the stories we've had in Lone Star. Like I remember like Carlos and TK on the back of the car or on the hood of the car at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
And that like whole storyline was like kind of weird, like a little more far-fetched than like realistically could happen.
Well, now we've got an asteroid, so I feel
which is now we've got like an asteroid or a comet coming, and I'm like, okay, so I mean, going out with a bang.
Supposedly.
And I guess I kind of have to give it some humor right now because I'm like, it's hard to think about it ending.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe if I just laugh it off, it'll, it won't hurt as much that day when I watch the last episode.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Sure. I've just been following off of you guys because
that's okay.
I finished with my bookcases.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything that I've heard, like, and of course, there's like these comments and people making comments like, oh, this is why this is happening and this is why they're canceling the series. I'm like, can we just stop? Honestly, with some of it.
I shudder to think.
Yeah, I know. There's like, there is like, I mean, I haven't seen it in a ton, but I know when a show gets canceled, sometimes they blame another show.
They blame actors, they blame other shows, they do a lot, and the fact is just we don't know.
Yeah. And that's okay.
I mean, yeah. And like, I will blame Fox because
absolutely blame Fox.
I feel like that's the only the valid thing to blame is Fox. Like, I'm okay with everyone being like, fuck you, Fox, for this. But like, let's just not with the other stuff. I'm just like, hey, at least.
Right. Well, I don't know. And I feel like, what what good is it to point fingers and blame? There's literally nothing we can do about it. I mean, yes, we could like, I mean, I guess there have been some series that have done it where like fans have like taken it outside of a network's studio. Jericho was one that stood out to me. Like they canceled it after season 1, and then the fans were so irate that like they sent the network something, and like they really did a petition and all sorts of stuff. And the next thing you know, like it's back for half of a season or something like that to close out some of the storylines. So it can happen, but
Right.
I feel like doing that and it's just asking for the network to be like, well, this is why we didn't want to keep it going, because I've seen how some things can act.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes forcing people's hands leads to something you don't want.
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Like if they decide to half-ass another couple seasons or whatever, but it goes down the drain, then the ratings are going to tank, and then they'll have a real reason to discontinue it. Like,
Right. Yeah. And it's like, I'm at least grateful that they did give us like a final 12 episodes. That they were like, we're gonna make these 12 episodes the best that we
Yeah.
can. So I'm at least grateful that we did get this, because this is like coming off of the strike. Like, yes, it was like when we knew, well, I didn't necessarily know when we got like a really long hiatus that would be a cancellation until we got through these months. And I was just like, it came to a certain point where I was just like, yeah, this is not looking good.
Which
Especially when we heard it was September, and I was just like, okay, I do not like this.
yeah. I mean, at least it does seem like all the actors are having things going on. Like I know Rafa has things going on. And he's the only one I know for sure, like as far as acting, because I know he got cast in some like series or film or something like a few months back. But also, like I follow Brian on social media. Oh yeah, I follow Brian on Insta, and it seems like he's doing like attending a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff. Like, so
Yeah.
those are just a couple people I can think of off the top of my head. But like this, it's been good for them, I think. But it's going to be interesting to see what projects they'll do from here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it'll be weird. It's always weird watching people, especially when you're really the characters of one show, watching a different show, and then you're like, wait, why aren't they like this character? And you're like, it's a different person. Oops.
Yeah.
Especially when the actor's so good at like just completely being somebody else. Like there are a couple actors I can think of that are absolutely the actor no matter what character they do. For example, The Rock, Kevin Hart. Those are two of the actors, like those are them. They're acting for sure, but their personalities are going into everything that they do. And they can because they're so well established.
Yeah.
And there are definitely other actors I could probably list after a moment of thinking that they absolutely do that as well. But then they're like on the flip side, it's just as valuable to have actors that can absolutely just flip the switch.
Yeah. It's gonna be really hard for like Ronan and Rafa, because I feel like I will forever see them as TK and Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be really tough. Um, and like I feel like it's known because obviously like the Tarlo stuff was thrown out there. Um, and we'll see what they do with that. It could be years before we hear anything at this point, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens as far as that goes.
Yeah, I just want them happy.
Yeah, agreed.
If they want to continue to act, great. I know Ronan's got the music thing going too. So I feel like, there's a lot of options and opportunities that, they wouldn't have had they had not been the characters on 911 Lone Star.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since like when they came onto Lone Star, they're like baby actors. Like, and it's
they
very
shot
cool.
to start.
Yeah, it's very cool because obviously the pandemic happened like after the show aired, and then we got like lots of like obviously we got like the quarantine content, and we got to see them like grow, like grow like online, but also on the show, if that makes sense. Um, and like it's kind of like, oh yeah, like someday we'll be like, oh yeah, we watched them when they like when nobody really knew who they were.
Remember back in the day. Sadly, I'm doing that a lot lately.
Honestly, I feel that because sometimes I'll be like, remember this, and then somebody won't know what I'm talking about. Or
Oh
like,
my
oh my god, this one, some people at work, like the 20 the one 20-year-old still use some language, and I'm like, what the
What do
heck
they
does
say?
that mean? And
Yeah.
Like
I'm like,
skibbity
god damn
toilet
it, am
or
I
whatever
that
the
old?
I
Right.
don't understand. I don't even understand my own generation's lingo, much less anybody else. Like I fear I am very much falling into the Zennial, like like the ones that were like tail end of millennial and beginning of Gen Z. I'm very much falling into that camp, even though I think I am pretty solidly Gen Z, like as far as birth year goes, even though I'm on the earlier side. As far as my pop culture knowledge and my lingo goes, I think I'm pretty solidly Zennial. So,
Which
but
is
you know,
okay.
it's fine. Have either of you seen? This is relevant, by the way, but I just want to check. Have either of you seen I Love Lucy, the old show?
Mm-hmm.
Clips of, yeah. I
Yeah,
have.
I've seen like things, so
I'm
I
not that
know.
old.
Listen, I
I
watch shows from the 60s. I'm not going to judge if anyone.
No, I just.
The entire,
Yeah. As a
the
kid,
entire
probably when I was homesick.
the entire the entire reason I say that, and maybe people out there will have also watched the show like a lot more like I have, is growing up is realizing I relate to Lucy Ricardo and then getting mad because of how much she's like because of some of the way she's treated in that show. I'm like, oh, don't do that to my girl Lucy. I relate to that. What do you mean? So that's been the crisis of growing up and turning 23 next month. Um, boy, that's a crisis. But yeah, no, so that's been fun.
yeah.
So I guess while we're still here, I mean, in the break, did we watch any series or shows while there was the break on Lone Star?
Hmm.
I
Not really. Like there's shows I watch. My mom and I just watched the first two episodes of The Pit on HBO. And that was it's different, but it was really good. Like the first episode was like very slow, but I really liked it because I feel like they kept it pretty accurate to the medical stuff, meaning that like it's not like the first episode and then they're going into the on-call room to, make out like Grey's Anatomy. Like I feel
Right.
like you're getting to know the characters, you're getting to know like whatever and that kind of stuff. So I liked that. And it's kind of cool because each episode is like an hour of the day. So like the first episode was 7 a.m., the second episode is 8 a.m.
yeah,
That's kind of cool.
that's fun.
Yeah, so it was different than anything I watched, but I really didn't watch anything like honestly.
I watched. Oh, I watched a couple movies as well. Um, I watched Red One, which was so much fun.
It
Actually,
was.
I actually really liked that movie. It did not take itself too seriously,
Yeah, that was
and I
good.
love it. Dwayne Johnson being a bodyguard for Santa. You can't take yourself too
Oh
seriously on
yeah,
that.
I heard about that one.
It was good. And Chris
Yeah.
Evans was in it too. And I'm like, hell
Yeah.
yeah, two of my favorite people.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun. I watched all but the last few minutes because my I landed in Iceland because I was watching this on the plane. But I watched all but the last couple of minutes of the Sense and Sensibility, um, which if anyone doesn't know is like a very famous novel by Jane Austen, which was turned into actually a really good movie. I saw like I saw the first season of I rewatched the first season of Call the Midwife. Um, so that's fun. It's a show based in the 1950s in like pop in a like poor East End London. And I have seen up to like season 8 before, but I fell off of it, and now there are like 13 seasons, so I'm trying to catch up. uh, and then I watched a bunch of Death in Paradise episodes and started its sister show Beyond Paradise, which yay, murder.
Oh,
Those are
wait,
they're
so
really fun.
Beyond Paradise was a sister show to something else?
Yeah, so Beyond Paradise is the sister show to Death in Paradise.
Oh.
So
Okay, because I started watching Death in Paradise and I wasn't totally sold on it. So I never continued on. So that's cool. And something new every day.
I highly recommend it. It's fun. Every episode pretty much is a murder. And I definitely think it is definitely a show that does get better with time, but it also has a pretty solid start. I don't think it's for everybody, but it is really fun, and I've always enjoyed it. But I just like murder mysteries, so there's
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So definitely love that. And Beyond Paradise follows one of the detectives, the DIs, once he leaves the Death in Paradise show, because he moves back to England. So that's fun. It's really cute so far. I've only gotten a few episodes in. So that's cool. And naturally, I have like steadily been watching the show Pro, also based off of Agatha Christie. So that's been really fun. I've been introducing one of my friends to them, and it's been great. So yeah, snippets of stuff. Absolutely nothing I plan to watch over the break for sure. But snippets of things. That's what being in England for 3 weeks will do. You know?
Right. Yeah, so I'm starting to rewatch Blue Buds because I can't get enough of Donnie Wahlberg. And then I caught up on Tracker and Fire Country. So for those of you who don't know, and I know Katie and I have kind of joked about it on here a few times, Billy Burke, who played Billy Tyson in Lone Star, is playing in Fire Country. And spoiler, Vince Leone, Billy's character, gets struck by lightning. So
Yeah,
gets electrocuted. So, it's like 2 for 2 in 2 Fire episode series. Yeah, it was funny. We've talked about it. I was like, okay, now I gotta go back and watch it because I just need to catch up. So I've been doing that. So I caught up to that and Tracker. The SWAT I finished or caught up to. I've kind of not really been interested in some of the medical dramas lately, which probably not surprising, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. What else have I watched? So my roommate was suggesting I should watch the Indiana Jones shows. We watched the first one a few months ago and it was like, eh. And then I was like, okay, I'll give the second one a chance. The second one was worse than the first one. I'm like, nope, not watching these again.
Right.
But yes, I did watch Red One. That was hilarious. Though, well, have to say there was some language in it that the 12-year-old in the room shouldn't have probably been around. So we're like, yeah. Yeah. So it's been good. It's the holidays were good, so had a lot of downtime, which is nice, and I'm hoping to have some more here soon. So not because of Lone Star being off the air, but it was nice to have kind of a little bit of a break from our consistent watching. I'm like, oh, I can watch something and I don't have to remember things.
I know, like,
True.
yeah, that is nice. I know. I like literally did not watch really that much besides the things that I was already watching. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, once hiatus comes. I said that last year, but then I was like not watching anything. But that's okay. I was reading more, which is fine.
I was gonna say, like, I've also been reading more.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
Yeah, which has been great. Seeing as I just reorganized my bookshelves and have a lot of books. But yeah, no, so that was great to be able to like start reading again. And I tackled some really fun books over break. now
Yeah.
to keep it up now that I'm back to work and all that.
Right. Yeah, I've been doing some more reading. I actually ran across a book that was set in my hometown here in Washington, which I was really shocked at. It's a dystopian apocalyptic series by a local author for over there. Because obviously I don't live in my hometown anymore, which I do miss. But he had changed the names to the local stuff, local city names and street names. But I'm like, I was reading through it. I'm like, I know what that means. And then like, so I'd highlight it and like, mark what it was. Yeah, and I've starting my 2025 reading goals for the year, and so yeah, getting a little bit more balance. But I'm glad Lone Star's coming back. I'm glad we're getting a few more episodes. I'm glad we've got a few more episodes to talk about before it's done. Wah, wah, wah. But I think in general, I mean, all good things must come to an end at some point, which is sad to say, but I also know that I don't think it's the last we've seen of Lone Star-esque series.
Yeah.
I think somehow we're going to get something down the pipeline.
Yeah, I know. I don't think, for at least most of the characters, I don't think that's the last we'll see them.
Right. And if some of the actors want to be like, I'm done, and they choose not to come back to any kind of repeat, that's understandable too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes actors are just ready to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely respect that. So, but also if they decide to do something more, cool. We'll be here for it.
Right, for sure.
Honestly, yeah, literally.
Aren't going away anytime soon.
Thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check out our website, now on the lsroundup.com. You guys can follow the podcast on our socials at Now on LS Roundup on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. I do want to put this out there. I don't know, or we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok, if they're going to get rid of it, or if they are going to save it. I don't know what's going to happen. So otherwise, you can follow us on our other socials. And I know there's like new apps coming out. There's other things. So if we join something, we'll let you guys know.
For
But I
sure.
just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
And stuff. And yeah, there's a lot there. But as always, you can also check out our Discord server. The link is in the description of this podcast and also on our website. You can follow me, Katie, at Philippatarlos on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok is Lone is whatever happens.
For
It's
now.
so hard. It's so hard because like that is like my main platform.
Oh yeah.
And there's like a lot into it, and it's just like nothing can replicate it. Like Instagram sucks, especially video wise. I hate reels. So it's been a lot. But that's my lone spiel with my socials. You're welcome.
You guys can follow me, Grace, at RoninRafa911 on Instagram and on Threads.
You can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram and anywhere social media wise. I've left some, come back to some. Pretty much put in EJ8302 at anything and you'll find me.
I know, I'm the same way.
I like consistency. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.